Chapter 11. Now the whole earth spoke one language, and with one manner of speech too. And it came to pass, as men journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Sinai, and they settled there, 3. And they said to one another, Come, let us make bricks, and burn them with fire. And they had bricks for stone, and slime for mortar. Then they said, Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top may reach to heaven. And let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. 5. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which men were building. 6. And the Lord said, Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and they have reason to do this thing. And now nothing will prevent them from doing that which they have imagined to do. Come, let us go down, and there, confusion of tongues. 17. Okay. Divide their language so they may not understand one another's speech. 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there upon the face of all the earth, and they ceased from building the city. 9. They called the name of it Babel, because it was there that the Lord confounded the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord scattered them upon the face of all the earth. 10. These are descendants of Shem. Shem was 400 years old when he begot Arphaxad, 2 years after the flood. 11. And Shem lived after he begot Arphaxad, 500 years, and begot sons and daughters. 12. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and begot Shelah. 13. And Arphaxad lived after he begot Shelah 403 years and begot sons and daughters. 14. And Shelah lived 30 years and begot Eber. 15. And Shelah lived after he begot Eber 403 years and begot sons and daughters. 16. And Eber lived 34 years and he begot Peleg. 17. And Eber lived after he begot Peleg 430 years, and he begot sons and daughters. 18. Peleg lived 30 years and begot Reu. 19. And Peleg lived after he begot Reu 209 years, and begot sons and daughters. 20. And Reu lived 32 years, and he begot Seruj. 21. And Reu lived after he begot Seruj 207 years, and begot sons and daughters. 22. Now Seruj lived 30 years and begot Nahor. 23. And Seruj lived after he begot Nahor 200 years and begot sons and daughters. 34. And Nahor lived 29 years and begot Terah. 25. And Nahor lived after he begot Terah 119 years, and he begot sons and daughters. 26. And Terah lived 75 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. 27. Now these are the descendants of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, Haran, and Haran begot Lot. 28. And Haran died before his father Terah in his native land, in Ur of the Chaldeans. 29. And Abram and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. That's kind of 30. But Sarai was barren. She had no child. 31. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. And they came as far as Haran, and they settled there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Chapter 12. Now the Lord said to Abram, Depart from your country, and from the place of your nativity, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you to. And I'll make of you a great people, and I will bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. 3. And I will bless those who bless you, and curse those who curse you, and in you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So Abram did as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Five. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all the possessions which they had gained, and the persons that they had gotten in Haran, and they went on their way to the land of Canaan. And to the land of Canaan they came. 6. And Abram passed through the land as far as the country of Shechem. Abraham and Lot, okay. And as far as the oak of Mamre. And the Canaanites were settled then in the land. 7. And the Lord appeared to Abram and said to him, To your descendants I will give this land. And Abram built there an altar to the Lord, for he had spoken, for he had appeared to him. 8. And from thence he removed to a mountain on the east of Beth-el, and pitched his tent, having Beth-el on the west, and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. 9. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. 10. Now there was a famine in the land. So Abram went down to Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was severe in the land. 11. And it came to pass, when he was about to enter into Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, Behold, now I know that you are a beautiful woman to look upon. 12. And it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians see you, they will say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will spare you. 13. Say therefore that you are my sister, because I will be treated well for your sake, and my life shall be spared because of you. 14. And it came to pass, when Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw that his wife was very beautiful. 15. The princes of Pharaoh also saw her, and praised her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. 16. And Abram was well treated for her sake, and he became the owner of sheep, oxen, asses, donkeys, male donkeys, men servants, maid servants, she-asses, and camels. 17. And the Lord afflicted Pharaoh and his household with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. 18. So Pharaoh called Abram and said to him, What is this that you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? 19. Why did you say, She is my sister? So I took her for my wife. Now therefore, here is your wife, take her and leave the country. 20. And Pharaoh charged his men concerning him, and sent him away together with his wife and all he had. Chapter 13. Now Abram went up from Egypt, he and his wife, and all he had, with Lot with him, into the south too. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. 3. And he went on his journey from the south as far as Beth-el, to the place where he had pitched his tent at first, between Beth-el and Ai. 4. to the place of the altar which he had built there at the first. And there Abram called upon the name of the Lord. 5. And Lot also, he went with Abram with large flocks, herds, and tents. 6. And the land was not able to support them, that they might dwell together, for their herds were so large that they could not dwell together. 7. And there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelt in the land. Then in the land. 8. And Abram said to Lot, they were giants, and Abram said to Lot, let there be no strife between me and you, and between my shepherds and your shepherds, for we are brethren. 9. Behold, the whole land is before you. Separate yourself from me. If you choose the left hand, then I will choose the right hand. If you depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. 10. And Lot lifted up his eyes, and saw all the land of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of God in the land of Egypt, like the land of Egypt at the entrance of Zoan. 11. Then Lot chose for himself all the land of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, that they separated one brother from the other. 12. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the villages of the plain, thus possessing the land as far as Sodom. Battle of the Kings. Okay. 13. Now the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners in the presence of the Lord exceedingly. 14. And the Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, lift up your eyes now and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. 15. For all the land which you see I will give to you. To you I will give it, and to your descendants forever. 16. And I will make your descendants like the dust of the earth, so that if you can number the dust of the earth, then you shall number the descendant, then shall your descendants also be numbered. 17. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I'll give it to you. 18. Then Abram removed his tent, and came and dwelt by the oak of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar to the Lord. Chapter 14. And it came to pass in the days of Amaphil, king of Sinai, Arioch, king of Dalasar, Kadlama, king of Elam, Tarael, king of Galides. 2. That these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shema, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. 3. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, which is the sea salt. 4. 12 years they served Kadlama, and in the 13th year they rebelled. 5. And in the 14th year came Kadlama and the kings that were with him, and smote the mighty men who were in Eshtaroth Canaim, and the valiant men who were in the city, and the Emins of Sheva Koriathaim. 6. And the Horites in the mountains of Seir, as far as the oak of Paran, which is in the wilderness. 7. And they returned and came to Endina, which is Rakim, Kadesh, and they smote all the princes of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who dwell in En-Gad. 9. 8. And there went out the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, the king of Bela, that is Zoar, and all these made war in the valley of Siddim. 9. With Kadlama, the king of Elam, Tarael, the king of Galides, Amaphel, king of Sina, Arioch, king of Dalasar, 4 kings against 5. 10. And the valley of Siddim was full of bitumen pits, And the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and those who survived fled to the mountain. 11. And the raiders took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their provisions and went their way. 12. And they carried away Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. 13. And there came one who escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, who dwelt by the oak of Mamre, which belonged to the Amorite brother of Aner and the brother of Eshcol, who were allies of Abram. 14. And when Abram heard that his nephew had been taken captive, he armed his young men, born in his own house, 318, and pursued the raiders as far as Dan. 15. And he divided his forces against them by night, he and his servants, and defeated them, and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. 16. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought back Lot his nephew and his goods, and the women also and the people. 17. And the king of Sodom went out to greet him after his return from the destruction of the forces of Kadlama and the kings who were with him at the valley of Sheva, that is the king's valley. 18. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was the high priest of the Most High God. 19. And he blessed him, saying, Blessed be Abram to God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. God's promise to Abram. 20. And blessed be the Most High God, who has delivered your enemies into your hands. And Abram gave him tithes of everything. 21. And the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people, and take the goods for yourself. 22. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hands to God Most High, the possessor of heaven and earth. 23. That I will not take of anything that belongs to you, from a thread to a shoestring, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich. 24. Save that which the young men have eaten, and the portions of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portions. 15. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am your shield, and your reward is exceedingly great. 2. And Abram said, O Lord God, what wilt thou give me? For I will die childless, and Eliezer of Damascus, one of my household, will be my heir. 3. And Abram said, Behold, thou hast given me no son, and behold, one of the members of my household will be my heir. 4. Then the Lord said to him, This man shall not be your heir, but your own son, that shall come out of your own loins, shall be your heir. 5. And he brought him outside, and said to him, Look now toward heaven, and number the stars. If you are able to number them, he said to him, so shall your descendants be. 6. And Abram believed in the Lord, and it was counted to him for righteousness. 7. And he said to him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans, to give you this land to inherit it. 8. And Abram said, O Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? 9. And he said to him, Take hold for yourself a heifer 3 years old, a 3-year-old ram, a 3-year-old she-goat, a pigeon, and a young dove. 10. And he took for himself all these, and cut them in two, and laid each piece against another, but the birds he did not divide. 11. And when the birds of prey came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. 12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell on Abram, and lo, fear and great darkness fell upon him. 13. And the Lord said to Abram, Abram, know of a surety that your descendants shall be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and shall be in servitude, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. 14. But I will judge the nations which they shall serve, and afterward they shall come out with great wealth. 15. And they shall depart from this life, and you shall depart from this life, and go to your fathers in peace, and you shall be buried at a good old age. And after 4 centuries they shall return here, for the iniquities of the Amorites are not yet full. 17. And it came to pass that when the sun had set and it was dark, behold, there appeared a smoking furnace and a burning torch that passed between those pieces. 18. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, to your descendants I have given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. 19. The land of the Canaanites, Kenizzites, and Cadmonites. 20. The Hittites, the Perizzites, the giants. 21. The Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites.